Yes.
I first got interested in mountains because a very good friend of mine called Andy Clark was and is a very passionate climber, and I'd been to the Alps once and I'd noticed people leaving the Aiguille du Midi, which is a very high ski station, going down a very narrow arête or ridge down into this beautiful snowy valley, and then going off to climb Mont Blanc. So I thought, yeah, that would be interesting. And I asked him if he thought I could do it, and he said, yeah, of course you can. And so the following year we went to do it with him as my guide. Unfortunately, I didn't take it seriously enough, and I wasn't fit enough. He'd said, "Oh, you're fine," because I'd cycle very fast to Brighton, and what I needed to do was do a lot of walking up mountains, get used to it. And so at one point, we climbed a 4,000-meter mountain called Casta, but when we tried climbing the first part of Mont Blanc, I was just ran out of puff, basically. So the next year, I took it very seriously, and we came and did a lot of warming up, a lot of acclimatization. And it came to the point where I was ready to do Mont Blanc. I felt very confident. But unfortunately, Andy went off climbing rocks. And he didn't want to do what... Climbers are quite snobbish about just walking up snowy mountains. They call it snow plodding, and a lot of people consider it quite boring and tedious.
How important is like climatizing when you go to do mountaineering?
Very. Different people need it more than others, but if you try to do Mont Blanc without acclimatizing, you're going to have a lot of trouble. You're short of breath, you're going to get headaches. I'm actually fortunate that I don't suffer from mountain sickness very easily, but you still need to get fit and acclimatized, otherwise it's risky.
Climb here.
Yeah. Just find a nice handhold, then move your foot. How you doing? I find it a bit hard to multitask here.
That's fine. Here.
Yeah, nice one.
What is it that you need to do to climatize? What would be like the 3 stages kind of thing to do so?
You need to just be at height, gradually increase the height. Sometimes you may go up and then go down to the point where, by the time, for example, I was in Nepal at 5,000 meters, I wasn't feeling any adverse effects. Some of my friends this year were feeling quite bad, but that was also probably not helped by the fact that everybody else in the party this year in Nepal got some sort of stomach, not just diarrhea, but serious sort of stomach pains.
Oh wow, yeah.
But anyway, so I was acclimatized, but my friend wanted to go off rock climbing, so I thought, well, I'm not going to give up now. So I went down to the Maison de Guide in Chamonix, which is the house of the guides. Chamonix guides are very prestigious in France. They've trained for sort of 5-7 years. They know everything about guiding people on mountains and very safety conscious. And I put my name down to do one more peak. Quite a lot in there.
So you mentioned a bit about rock climbing as well. When you do mountaineering, is there an element of rock climbing you have to do, or?
Sometimes there is. Sometimes you might have to scramble up some rocks or go up an ice cliff. There's one little ice cliff on Mont Blanc, but because of my limitations as someone who's never really done rock climbing at all, that limits what I can do, because the harder snow routes will also involve climbing skills. So I can't go beyond a certain level. But I started very late in life, and so my philosophy is just to do as much as I can. Recently, when I was in the Dolomites, a young person said to me, "God, you were going hard at that, Rob, just walking." And I said, "Yeah, but..." I quoted Dylan Thomas, who says, "Rage, rage against the dying of the light to his dying father." And I just have this feeling I want to get as much done as I can, while on this glorious earth. Talking of the Dolomites, that's something you can do without too many rock climbing skills, in that it's set up during the First World War. These mountains have iron railings going up, and with bolts every so often, and you have a piece of equipment that enables you to clip on, climb up, clip on, so even if you fall, you're very well protected, which means you can go places that are really hairy, that you wouldn't be able to go unless you were a serious rock climber. So it's sort of serious rock climbing for the useless, and that was really good fun. But it has to be said, one of the biggest things about it that's different from cycling or playing tennis is that it is actually potentially dangerous, and there have been a couple of times where I've been at grave risk of dying, due to my own incompetence, I will admit. One time, for example, I went out with a group to the Sass Valley in Switzerland, and I've got a very good friend called Zahir, who's a serious climber, very much young, significantly younger than me, very fit, very slim, and he said on the second day, without much warm-up, let's do the Weissmies, which is a 4,000 metre peak, and assez difficile, quite difficult, it graded. And given that I've got some stiffness due to sciatic pain, I wasn't, especially on the way down, I wasn't really in full control, and I slipped, and only the young man who was roped to me, doing what he needed to do, which was arrest the fall and hold me, stopped me pulling him and myself off and not stopping from dying. So it can be quite hairy. But on the other hand, if anybody said to me, oh, they get heights, I would say, perhaps you don't. I mean, I thought I had heights, but you can train yourself and you can get used to it. You can get habituated, so that something that used to scare you, after you've done some more scary things, doesn't really, you realise that you're not actually going to fall off a path that's narrow, because you wouldn't fall off if you were on the ground. You know, you could walk along a pavement, you don't fall into the road, so there's no logical reason. In fact, what I think is that heights is actually letting your imagination run riot. You let yourself think, what if? And then obviously, if you fell off, you would fall. But you train yourself not to think about what if. And the reason that's...
Is it kind of like the same terminology of like walking on a tightrope, and if you look down, is where your focus goes, and the possibility of you falling is lot more likely.
Not that I've ever tightrope, but I think what was I going to say? You train yourself not to let yourself imagine. And it's easier because you are so focused on putting your next foot down and doing the right thing. You can't really afford. If you started doing that, you'd freeze. But another slightly embarrassing time was I tend to be a bit overconfident at times, and when I went to do these Via Ferratas, they go up to as high as 5C, 5Cs being the most difficult and most technically challenging or whatever. And I'd done a 4 and I was happy, and everybody else was doing a 5C the next day. I got to a couple of points where I really had trouble making the next move, and fortunately a young man came and helped me out, but that was a bit hairy. But it wasn't actually life-threatening, it was just that the only alternative to completing it would have been to call out the helicopter, which is really regarded as...
that's an embarrassment.
Embarrassment, to say the least. Especially when you're on a Via Ferrata and not actually anywhere inherently that dangerous.
So here and now we are in... where are we now?
The centre of Gran Canaria.
Right, so we're in the centre of Gran Canaria, and we're going to do some form of mountaineering today, is that correct?
If we make it in time, if you feel like it, but there may be some shoe problems. I'm perfectly happy to play it by ear, because I don't want to force. It may not be, may not work today. So.
Well, we can do a level of it.
We'll go for a little walk.
Okay. All right. So we'll go from there. Just so we're going to pause it here for a sec.
bit creaky and lack of scrambling, but that was fun.
Right, let's set up an interview. We got to do an interview because I need to know everything. We got to. Alright, just one sec. Let's just set that out inside the camera because my heart was in my mouth.
Was it?
Yes.
That was not very... there's a lot more dangerous bits of climbing than that.
Right, we've got to set this up because I am like, wow.
Come on.
This is new to me. This is like my first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I only had four. I always had four hands, four, extremities on the.
So I mean, you covered a bit of camera. So I just saw something that put my heart in my mouth.
It's always more scary if you're not doing it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I followed you up a small way. Yeah. And for me, that was like, okay, wow, this is really powerful and interesting. But then when I saw you literally off the edge of the rock,
no, I wasn't.
It was just
I was being very careful.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't have proper shoes, so I didn't feel that. And also, funny enough, it's that wouldn't be much, but it made me scared because Kate kept screaming. Yeah. I was just trying to do something slightly difficult, and Kate went, "Whoop!"
Oh, right, that's a good point because the last thing you need is someone being too worried in that moment, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh man, I mean, how does it make you feel? What kind of euphoria does it make you feel when you know that you're climbing probably one of the highest mountains in thousands of miles?
Well, you're only doing what you can do, and I was playing it very safe. I didn't do anything that was really difficult. I was very careful. Yeah. So, but the thing is, it's exciting and it's nice to loosen up. I mean, my legs are very stiff, but I know that it reminds me that if I go and do a bit of scrambling, it'll loosen up a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, wow.
Come on, you make it sound like a slow Mount Everest.
I mean, for myself, like a newcomer, a new starter in this. I mean, looking at all of this from.
I tell you what you're doing. You're looking at down below, but I'm only looking at. A lot of that is just a path. If there wasn't a down below, it would be quite easy. It's just a rocky path.
Yes, and you did say that before, that when you are doing it, you should never ever be looking down. Focus on the path that's in front of you.
Yeah, I didn't look down.
Okay. So if you look down, it would have changed your whole experience. Would you
no,
say?
I can look down because I know that I'm not doing anything risky. They'll run risky, but I turn back just in case,
Yeah.
I don't think we should exaggerate this,
Okay.
If my climbing club people would laugh if they saw what I just done and I was being interviewed. Oh yeah, come on.
Okay.
This is like a scramble. I mean, it's I suppose it's quite high. The word they use is exposed. Okay. So it was quite exposed at times.
So it's not really high per se, but it's very exposed.
Well, high in the sense if you fell off, you could die, but there wasn't much of that. But there's a difference between it being exposed and it actually being hard. If it's not hard, if you know you're standing and you're holding onto something, there's no reason for you to fall off, then the exposure's not so bad.
So would you advise me in that moment to try what you just done?
I think we should go to Wales and build up gradually. Not that that was that hard.
But
we're going
just to build my confidence. Yeah, we're going to Wales.
We're going to Wales.
We're going to do it in Wales next.
Yeah, but you won't be able to carry that up.